I remember the first time I took part in a martial arts class. Now we're talking over 2 decades ago. I remember the instructor showing me how to do the moves, and everything seemed really, really uncoordinated. Not only that, they'd give me advice and mentally I'd recognize the advice, but physically I just really couldn't put it together. Now, fast forward just a short period of time and you can see it's becoming more natural and fluid, and then you add on years and years of training and it becomes just second nature. So we all know this. Practice makes you far more skilled, far more proficient. However, with regards to getting there, what actually happens? We stimulate the same brain regions when we visualize something and when we actually do it. Combine that with the fact that every time we visualize, we actually develop new pathways via neuroplasticity, which makes it more and more smooth and easier to complete the activity. Just think about any time you've tried an activity that requires practice. The first time you played the piano, compare that to 3 months down the track. If you compare it side by side, you've obviously got the skills, but not just the skills, the coordination and the speed of the changes and everything else all come as a result of this amazing pathway. So we have both neuroplasticity, but we also have that area that's being stimulated before you actually do something. And that's in the brain, it's the same part. So that leads us to the topic of today, and that is visualization. Because you already know, if you practice something and if you use the right technique, maybe you upgrade it with modeling, that is finding someone who's exceptional at something, breaking down how they do it and copy it, you're going to get great results. But visualization is something that is often talked about, but not actually done either very well or done frequently for most people. I mean, all of us have heard of visualization. We might have tried it a couple of times, but have you ever thought that if you tried to visualize on a daily basis for a week, a month, a year, and your brain is setting those connections, getting everything more and more fluid so that when you're ready to face the situation, whatever it is, sporting, social, career, whatever it is, your chances of success in that area will be infinitely greater. Just remember the last time you went somewhere and you had a challenge. The typical one that people move to is the social one, because in today's age, everybody's on the internet. Everybody's attention is destroyed. Just go back a few decades before we really had that internet access, and people had to get books for their information. Then we moved to online and we get a lot of things through the internet. And then the internet has these video platforms like YouTube. Suddenly nobody's reading books, but that's just the beginning. The next step is that you get sites like TikTok, and it destroys one's ability to focus on anything because you're getting constant dopamine hits every 5 or 10 seconds. And then YouTube videos become something that turn into YouTube shorts. Suddenly watching 5 or 10 minutes on YouTube is incredibly difficult. And then if you have Instagram, every second or half a second, there's an update. How can we keep up with this? Our brains are being totally inundated. We have to take control of our brains, because guaranteed, if you go from a heavy internet diet to suddenly trying something like, oh, visualization sounds cool, I've seen a few people talking about it, you're probably not going to make it successful. So the first step is just to back off on all the social media, just as much as you can, and then start reading books, start getting your head straight, start getting in a place where you can focus on things better and better. A lot of people talk about meditation or dopamine detoxes, and we'll get into that in a future episode. But if you're in a place where you can focus, just think about visualization. Think about it for your day, because in our days we have so many aspects. Often we're seen as one-dimensional people in terms of marketing and influencers. You go to a YouTuber or a podcaster and they're all about their niche. Niches are created because it's the best platform in order to get viewers. If you're in a niche, then suddenly you have a specific market share, and from that place, you can build your platform and become more and more successful, which is great. But then we're left thinking, wow, life is really one-dimensional. This incredibly amazing influencer from whatever social media platform, that person right there has got it all together. But in actuality, they're so heavily focused on such a small part of life that everything else is just messed up. You'll see the fitness influencers and they talk about their fitness, and they might stem into relationships, but superficial ones based on dating because they've got their bodies together. Or you'll see somebody talking about psychology and it becomes all about a mental process, everything in their life without actually getting out there and doing things. Life is so big. It's just incredible. And that's why when I talk about visualization, I talk about visualizing the entire day. So right now, what would the entire day look like if it was amazing? Now, a lot of people talk about what would your perfect day look like? But the thing is, I think if you had one perfect day, that would be repetitive and boring. I like to talk in terms of a perfect week, a perfect month, and then break down those aspects to the perfect day in that day of the month or that day of the week. Because if your perfect day is, I wake up, I go to the gym, I get a massage, I go to the beach, I catch up with friends, amazing. But you do that for 365 days, and I think you're going to be unbalanced. So think about what Monday looks like. What would an amazing Monday look like? Does it mean you get out of bed early and work out? Or does it mean that you sleep in and have a great breakfast? Whatever it is, whatever it means to you, think about it beforehand. And just the chances of it happening are much greater because your body is wired in order to follow your visualization. And the converse is true. So if you don't actually control this process, you will still visualize. That's the whole point. If you're not visualizing with intention, then you're going to be visualizing the worst. You're going to be thinking, oh, Monday's come around. I've got this problem at work I've got to get back into. My boss is going to yell at me for this. I'm really not looking forward to it because I've got a big day. I probably won't get a lunch break, whatever it is. And then for some reason, fortuitously, your mind has smoothed those pathways so that when you go to work, you'll probably have a pretty lousy day. But you'll never have as lousy a day as your mind can generate because our mind is incredibly powerful. So if you think to yourself, I'm going to have the worst day possible, and you think about all these problems, you'll probably have a really crap day, but you probably won't get fired and assaulted and whatever else was going on in your mind. You probably just had a pretty crap day. Similarly, if we flip this, if we can decide what our most perfect, amazing day would look like, it's probably not going to be absolutely perfect and amazing. But you can guarantee that it is 1,000% greater than if you let your unconscious mind unintentionally guide your visualization process for the day. So the first step in visualization, apart from getting rid of all the distractions and being able to actually physically visualize, the first step is to get into the place where you are intentional about your visualizations. If you're not motivated to do this, just realize that you are going to be visualizing one way or another. So the first step, get intentional about it. The second step, think about your week, Monday to Friday, what your priorities are, what your dreams are, what your goals are, and what can move you closer towards your goals, how you can have fun along the process, what are things that you're doing that you don't really love, that you could just drop out of your life and it wouldn't make a difference. How could you use that time instead? Make sure that you've got plenty of time to relax and enjoy and have rewards, but build them on the habits of doing empowering things, whether it's exercise or working on your business or goals or sports or whatever it is. Just make sure that you have that balance set out. Now, when it actually comes time to visualize, I would put visualization into two parts. The first part is looking at your entire day of that week. And the night before, think about what you'd like to happen. Close your eyes, get into a relaxed place, maybe take some slow breaths, and then just see what happens as you intentionally plan. Whether it's you wake up in the morning and you feel absolutely refreshed. And that's a big change because you normally feel tired. And then you get out of bed, your body actually feels good. So you're focusing on those submodalities of NLP, the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, the smell, the taste, that you get up, you go, you grab breakfast if that's your step you want. If you go to the gym, that's your step. Whatever it is, it's an amazing breakfast. It's an amazing workout. You spend time with family. You don't just ignore them and rush off to work. You do something that's positive. Maybe you wake up a bit early and read a chapter from a book or write a chapter for a book, whatever it is that you're doing. And you find that you have a great time, you're being productive, you're enjoying it. Now you're on the way to work, whether you're commuting or driving, you're listening to some podcast or some YouTube or some audiobooks or whatever it is, and you're enjoying it. You're getting both informed and entertained by it. You're growing, you're leveling up, and then you get to work and you see the colleagues and you've got an amazing rapport with them. They're all happy to see you. You're really acting at your strongest, most resourceful state, and everybody sees that and reflects it back to you, and life is going great. You get to your work and you find that work is kind of enjoyable. You're solving problems, you're moving through things, you're helping others, you're getting paid, you're doing everything. It's pretty cool. And then before you know it, you get that break because we're all about seasons. You have the most amazing lunch. While you're at lunch, you take a walk, you watch a movie, you catch up with friends, whatever it is, and you get back into it. And then a few hours later, you just reflect, man, that day went past pretty quickly. I did a heap of stuff. I enjoyed it. It was good. I caught up with people. And now on your way home, it's freedom. Now, depending on what you're about, you go to the gym, you do your sports, whatever that is. Then you come home, spend time with family, have an amazing meal, watch a movie, go out, do whatever you're into, and then go to bed and have an amazing sleep. Now, whatever variations you need, just think about the entire day. And once you've done that day, stop and then think about specifics. Think about if you went out and played sport after work. If the sport is something you're passionate about, then we can do the next step. If you're not really passionate about that sport, maybe you should find something or reignite your passion for that sport. If you play basketball, why don't you visualize the shooting process, the passing process, the layups, whatever part that you're into, and notice that each part that you do is perfect. If you have trouble with this in today's information age, it's kind of great because all you have to do is just jump on YouTube and click on your favorite sporting hero and you can see exactly how they move. If you're into boxing, you'll get Lomachenko and watch how he moves. And I tell you, I've seen him 100 times and I still can't break down exactly how he dances behind the opponent without the opponent being able to see him. But whatever character it is, focus on what they do. And then imagine that you're doing that. Every step is perfect. Now, when you do go to the basketball courts, you won't suddenly be Michael Jordan. You will be you, but upgraded. Suddenly, your moves are a little bit smoother. Suddenly, it's getting more fun. Visualize that you're enjoying the process too, because we know that enjoyment plus skills is the best outcome. And then add that sort of specific visualization to every aspect of your life. So in other words, you visualize the entire day and then you visualize certain aspects. And then just make it habitual. So for the entire day, you can do that and take half an hour. And that sounds like a lot of time. And I agree, I think it's way too much time. So then the next day, make it 20 minutes. Then make it 15. Make it 10. Work your way down until you've got all the way to just 1 or 2 minutes. And you're actually enjoying it because they say that we die twice, die a million times, But in reality, we only die once. We die twice or a million times based on our thoughts and fears about death. Same for success. We succeed once or twice or a million times, once in reality, but a million times in our head. And so once you build up this basis of success, it's incredibly empowering. Now, this is very specific, particularly to those that are quite young or who haven't had much success in their life. Because one reason why people are often so successful in their lives is that when they have success in the past, they have an amazing foundation to pull from, to build upon in order to enjoy continued success. But you're starting from square one and you're like, well, everything I've done has been a failure. Honestly, everything on every domain. How am I going to become successful? I don't have any positive past experiences that I can draw upon. Then suddenly you throw in visualization, and now you have thousands and thousands of experiences that you can pull upon of positivity. Now, this is not just some feel-good self-help thing, but as I said, neuroscience backs this up through the study of neuroplasticity, where we form new neural networks. These pathways are the special pathways that make everything easier. The same pathway that was developed when a baby tries to stand up and walk and falls over a million times. They can walk after a period of time because the pathway has been cemented. And now you're listening to this. You could stand up and walk with your eyes closed. You could run with your eyes closed. I wouldn't recommend it, but you have these pathways and they're ingrained. You have to realize that we all have degrees of success in our life that we can build upon. But this visualization process, no matter how much success you've had, it brings it to the next level. In terms of any domain, in terms of basketball, the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, the Michael Jordans, these guys, the greatest in their fields, they can level up because they've been at the top of their fields. They don't have anywhere else to go, so they can visualize at a greater level and go there. The Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, the richest people in the world, they don't have anyone that they can compare to because they're at the top of their field. Visualization levels them up even further. Whatever domain it is, it allows you not only to set a solid foundation, but allows you to level up at the same time. So visualize, enjoy the process, and most importantly, stick with it. Do not do it once. Do not do it twice. Do it solidly for a week. Do it for the day. Plan beforehand and then visualize. Then do it for specific activities. Do it multiple times and keep at it. Now, if you've done it for a month and it hasn't made a change, objectively speaking, in your life, then disregard it. But I look at visualization and a lot of psychology, a lot like the human condition. We don't have a meal once and suddenly don't have to eat again. We have to do it daily. We don't just shower once and then we're clean. You have to shower daily. You don't just visualize once and then you're good. You have to do these processes relatively frequently. And the better you get at it, the more neuroplasticity takes over, the less time is required, and the less frequently you have to do it. So I hope this has been useful, and I'll speak to you on the next episode.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If so, rate it from the place you downloaded it. For any questions, send an email to michaelpulser@gmail.com.